Hi, Daryl. Good to see you. So, the RMD formula is changing for the first time in decades, but is it good news? For the first time in 20 years, actually, the IRS has changed how much we're required to withdraw from retirement accounts starting at age 72. What do I need to know?
Well, it's sort of a good news, bad news thing. So the formula, what they've done is they've extended the life expectancies. So people are living a little bit longer. It's interesting. They're always so behind, Aaron, because life expectancy is actually decreasing a little bit, yet they've just not
Right.
got around to extending it. So I have an example here. So we'll try to make this very simple. If you look at the chart, age 72 is now the age that you are required to take a minimum distribution. Now, not to confuse our audience, but we have to be particular. If you are age 72 or you're turning age 72, you can actually take your first distribution the following year by April 1st when you're age 73. Now, in that case, you'd actually be taking two distributions in one year. A lot of people do it. Then they realize that they pay a lot more tax than they expect.
Right.
But that's the year you turn age 72. So if you look in the old numbers, the blue, the distribution period is 25.6. That is, so what you do is you take the aggregate of all of your money in the tax deferred bucket, if you will. You could have an IRA, 401k, 403b. You take all that money, you combine the sums, and then you divide that by 25.6. So if we use
Okay.
the number 250,000, then that would require you to take in 9,765 into income in that year. What they've done is they've increased that factor. The factor is now 27.4, which reduces the amount that you would have to take in to $9,124. It's down about a $641. Taxable income will be less according to the new rules.
Hmm.
So, is that good or is it bad? Well, it certainly sounds good, but a lot of these things, Aaron, they really benefit the affluent mostly, and generally in this case only the affluent. And here's the reason why: because most people by the time they're age 72, they need their money to live. Like they need that money to live. So in
Right.
this example, if they had $250,000 and they were being required to take in 9765, that is what, about $800 a month, and they probably need that money to live.
Hmm.
uh, it is the affluent that have money, that money will ultimately go to their kids because they're not going to spend it or not spend as much of it. So it doesn't really help regular working Americans, but that's kind of what we see.
But the affluents still have to take those distributions, otherwise, they're penalized. Everybody has to take them.
Everybody has to take the distribution, and what I want to point out is that when they so they're also talking about now taking that year from 72 to 75. It used to be 70 and a half. So they act like
Mhm.
they're doing a great thing. They're like they're moving it back for people. And what I'm suggesting, yes, you have to take it. Whatever the year is, you have to do the formula and you have to take that distribution. If you don't, Aaron, there's a 50% penalty.
Wow. 5
So
0.
50%. So what that means is that if you were supposed to take, let's use our 9124 example, just as an example. So half of that is 4,500, roughly $4,500. That's the penalty if you don't take in the $9,100, and you still have to take the RMD late. So
Mhm.
that's yes. So you're correct. You still have to do it, and it's probably a miserable experience if you forget. Uh, Aaron, a lot of the like it's kind of funny. Like, we're now heading into Labor Day. Like, you're getting your kids back to school.
Oh,
Eh,
goodness. I know,
That's
not a moment too soon.
that's what you're thinking about. Like this is a time when I started thinking I want to get the RMDs done for my clients, right? So
Mm.
we have 4 months left in the year. I just want to make sure I get those RMDs done. But that's so yeah. So all advisors know this, and a lot of if you have a retail account with Schwab, let's say, they're probably going to be notifying you if you're of age.
So, and RMDs are really important too because this affects taxes, right? This is why this is, there's no cookie cutter answer here, but if you need the money, you need the money, but the more money you take, the larger the tax bill you'll get. So how does that factor into you helping your clients with that?
Well, you know, so as an advisor, so I have this concept you've heard me say. I call it securement, and I
Mhm.
and I I always look at three things above anything else. I think that the answer to a healthy and happy retirement is a combination of protecting your nest egg, creating income, and also reducing taxes. So what I'm working on with people all along are Roth conversions that make sense,
Mhm.
because I don't want to get into a I want to be in charge, right? So I was talking about operating from financial strength, and I got the
Right.
little caricature, right? The muscles. When we tax plan, we operate from a position of strength. That's what I want, and so we're going to consider Roth conversions. We're going to consider how Social Security is taxed. A lot of people don't even know it's taxed. We're going to consider how that's taxed, and so those are some of the tax planning maneuvers. The key with RMDs is that if we do Roth conversions, or we try to reduce the amount of money in the middle bucket, which is our tax deferred bucket, if we do that well, then we'll be forced to take what we can take smaller distributions because there'll be less money there. So it
Mhm.
all works hand in hand. But if you get to 72, you have what you have in that bucket, and in fear of penalty, it could shave years off your life, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We got to make the distributions.
And I just want to lay this out for everybody who's watching. The accounts that are subject to RMDs are the ones that have been tax deferred, right? The ones that probably
Correct.
most of us are using, the 401ks and the IRAs and stuff. But that's why you're saying the Roth is so important, is because they are not subject to the RMDs. Is that right?
Right. Well, Roth, when you do a Roth conversion or make a Roth contribution, right? So, you can contribute if you're over $57,000 every year, according to current law, if your income is under a certain level. And when you get money into the Roth environment, it doesn't bother anybody for the rest of your life, and it has great advantages for your kids if they are the beneficiaries of the Roth. So when we talk about Roth accounts, Roth distributions don't cause your Social Security to be taxed. That's a big deal.
Right.
Those are big deals. And then the other thing is that if legacy is important to you, when the money transfers to the next generation, they have 10 years to get it out. They got to get it out in 10 years, but there's 10 additional years of tax-free growth, and then there's no tax when they take it out. So
Mhm.
yeah, those are that's why. So that's why I would say, like it's running. If you're running a marathon, Aaron, when uh, it,
Which
it's
I would
it's
never
man.
do, by the way. But go ahead.
I did 3 marathons 20 years ago this year, so that's the end of that. But there are a lot of factors that go into you having success on race day. Nutrition, the right footwear, getting proper amount of rest. There are
Mhm.
10 different factors, and if you miss one, you're kind of screwed on race day. So
Mhm.
I feel that as we try to create financial strength for people, and that's what we do these videos for: safety, simplicity, and strength. As we try to create financial strength, it's a combination of creating income or maximizing income, protecting what you have, and reducing taxes. So we want to be aiming right for the middle.
Right. I've heard before, if you do not have a tax plan, you do not have a retirement plan. So that
So
really needs to be an important consideration.
I need to use
I
that.
think we covered a lot today. I want to dive deeper into Roths at some point. I was just reading an article the other day about how you shouldn't even do a 529 for your kids anymore. You should do a Roth.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So a lot of people, yours truly, overfunded the 529s. I overfunded my 529s for the boys, and there's money in those accounts. Not my money, but there's still money in those accounts. And now really, if I want to bring it back into my name, there's some taxes and penalties. And you're not going to find that in the Roth environment. If you save in a Roth environment, you save in the Roth account. The interest or the gains on that money, there's some lockup provisions that are well beyond the scope of us chatting right now. But the principal you can take out and use that for college. So the problem with that strategy, though, Aaron, is that
Mm,
you can't do enough. That's the problem. You can't do enough. 529s you could put a lot of money in. With the Roth, you know, if you want to put money in a Roth account, the other thing, Aaron, is like, not thinking about. We should read the article together.
Sorry, I opened a can of worms.
Well, you can put money in a Roth account under your name because you have the work wages. But a 529, there's no work wages requirement. So you can say today, I want to put
Right.
you know, $3,000 in child one, child two, child three,
Right.
all the children you have that we don't know about. Like we can all of
There are
that. Like
many.
I,
More than even I can count.
I just, you know, I just said that. I was like, I
That's
don't
how it
know.
feels, though, especially
I
during
don't know
summer,
if
Daryl.
I
It
don't know if
truly
I should.
feels
I
that
don't know if
way.
I should say that. But yeah. So it's it's not a strategy with the same meat as a 529. I think that if I've learned one thing about that is I would underfund rather than overfund, because now if we don't want to pay tax, I got to give the money to my kids or continue paying for their schooling, and I really don't want to do either.
Well, I really did open a can of worms here, but
I hope they're
it's
not
a can that
watching
I
that.
really want to delve into too.
All right, we
This
can do
was
that.
really helpful, Daryl. Thank you very much. Fun as always chatting with you.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend.
You too.